Hello, this is for Sunday, March 27th. And as you can see, our story today takes place with the disciples in a boat on the water. This is a well-known story of when Jesus walked on the water. And I know we've done this story before, so I thought this time in your packets I included a ghost story version of this story, and it's called Ghost on the Water. So rather than read from my Spark Bible this week, we're going to use our little figures here and our ghost story to help tell the story. Now, before I begin, the story of Jesus walking on the water can be found in Matthew chapter 14, verses 22 to 36, which is where this story comes from. It can also be found in Mark chapter 6, verses 45 to 56, and in John chapter 6, verses 16 to 24. So there are multiple places in the Bible where they tell the story of Jesus walking on the water. However, the one in the Gospel of Matthew is the only one that mentions what Peter does in our story today. Okay? So let's go ahead and I will read this story to you. This is also a Lego lesson. So if you want to get out and build in response to the story, or if you want to watch and build afterwards, that's fine too. I think this makes a fun Lego lesson because there's all sorts of things you can build. You could build a boat. You could build people walking on water. You could build, I think last time we did this as a Lego lesson, Naima built a big crashing wave out of all the blue Legos she could find. So there's lots of different things that you could build with this story. So here we go. Here's our story. It's called Ghost on the Water, and you do have the story if you want to read along. It was a dark and stormy night. The boat was tossing on the sea. We can toss a little. Whoa, there goes all the guys crashing around. Oh no, my sail. All right, the boat was tossing on the sea. The fog was swirling all around, and the waves were high and fierce. Oh, look at those waves. The men in the boat were tense. They had all heard stories of boats sinking suddenly in the storm, of ghosts on the water that come when someone is about to die in the sea, of their father's friends who went out in a storm and never came back. The wind was howling. Whoosh. Some of the men were sitting huddled in the bottom of the boat. I think all my men fell in the bottom of the boat. All night long they fought the waves and the wind, and they were tired and scared. Just when it was starting to get light, the men saw something on the water. A speck, almost a glow. It was coming toward them, gaining on them. As the speck got closer, they saw that it was the figure of a human. The figure was walking, its clothes billowing out gently, coming right toward the boat. It seemed to be walking right over the water, leaving no wake or ripple in the water. The men were terrified. "A ghost!" they cried. "It's a ghost!" They couldn't escape. It was coming to get them. Then the figure spoke. It sounded like Jesus. It looked like Jesus. The voice said, "Don't be afraid. It's me, Jesus." The men shrank back and turned around and hid in the boat. But Peter summoned up all his courage. Here's Peter being brave. He went to the edge of the boat and called out in a quivering voice, "Lord, if it is you, tell me to come to you on the water, just like you're walking." And Jesus said, "Come." Peter got out of the boat and started walking on the water toward Jesus. He took a few steps. Then he looked around. The waves were all around him. The wind was blowing around him. The boat was getting farther and farther behind, and Jesus was still a ways away. It seemed like he was all alone on that stormy sea in the dark before sunrise. Everything safe was too far away. He was standing on the water all alone. He got scared. And as he got scared, he began to sink, just as he was afraid he would do. Oh, there he goes, sinking into the water. Peter panicked and screamed, "Lord, save me!" The fear in his voice made one's heart stop. Jesus reached out his hand, there we go, and caught him and helped him up. "Peter," Jesus said, scolding him gently, "you have such little faith. Why did you doubt?" And then Jesus helped Peter back into the boat. There we go. Get him back to the boat. There they are, safe and sound. Peter noticed that just as he fell into the boat, the wind stopped and the storm stopped, and the sea became calm again. And so did he. So I hope you liked that story. I'm going to read you also our questions, our Lego building questions. This story does take place right after the story for last week where Jesus fed the 5,000. The reason he wasn't on the boat with them at the beginning of the story is he had gone off someplace to pray. So our first building question is, I wonder where you go to pray or could go to pray. I wonder what you like to do when you are alone. I wonder if you have ever been on rough seas. I wonder if you have ever been close to a miracle. I wonder if something has happened and you couldn't believe what you were seeing. I wonder what it is like to follow Jesus. I wonder what it felt like to step out of the boat and onto the water. I'm going to add my own question here. I wonder if you would have been brave enough to do what Peter tried to do. I wonder if you trust God. I wonder if we can doubt and trust at the same time. And I wonder how you would like to worship God. So I hope you enjoyed the story and building with your Legos. And I'm going to close with a prayer. Lift us up, O God, and make us strong. Encourage us when we doubt, and help us up when we fall. Remind us that if we keep our eyes on you, we will know more peace. Amen. I'll see you next week, the first Sunday of April, in person at church. Bye.